It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Saturday and Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast. This is the 28th day of September, brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around and chilliescruises. I promised I'd try this. I am on the train, the Asila there it came back. I see we do have a couple people with us. Good afternoon. Steve's with us down in Kentucky. Everybody's popping in. Looks like trying to weed it out here and see if it'll keep coming and going. So my apologies for that. Just no telling what's going to happen on the Wi-Fi. Let's see, to bring you guys up to date. Last time I talked to you was after we did the whale watching yesterday, and then we went out on the sunset cruise last night. Again, was just phenomenal. It was great, a great time. A little bit of diciness with the ramps, the rampage, getting the chair on and off the boat, but it was doable. So, great cruise. We were out at Old Ironsides for the cannon shoot, and then went all around the Boston Harbor, pointing out how to get the area and a lot of things in Boston. It was just another really, really good cruise. I see Mike hopped in from over on the other side of the pond, and there's Jenny Lynn Esperanza. Good afternoon. Glad you're with us. We do this all the time. This is at least a 5-day a week. I do travel and cruise industry news, usually at 11 a.m. generally, but I'm traveling, as you can tell. I'm on the train from Boston to New York City. We're going to be in New York City a couple days, and then on Monday I'll head back home to Virginia. And then what has been just all the traveling I've done all the years, this has been one of the best weeks of my life. It's been great, and able to do a lot of wheelchair accessible things that I normally don't get to do when I travel. So this has been a learning experience for me, and I'm hoping it'll inspire some of my disabled brethren out there to, don't sit at home and feel sorry for yourself. Go do what you want to do. Make the most of it. There's ways of doing it, and there's people that'll help you, and, be glad to do it. Where is Tom driving the train? Tom is driving the train. He's looking for the Empire State Building and hopes to park it in the backyard of the Empire State Building. Well, speaking of hot air, Tom, he just jumped in, saying hello to everybody. By the way, folks, cheers. And no, this isn't a McDonald's Diet Coke. Here's one of Hot Air Tom's water bottles from the hotel. That was actually filled with the remnants of my bottle from the hotel. So anyway, just have a little, Gina Lynn says hi to Tom also. Very good. All right, so I do have a couple news stories, and one thing we got to take a quick look at is complicated weather. My goodness. But we'll get to that after a quick break from one of my fine network sponsors. Okay, so again, folks, this is a little bit different than the normal show. I don't have the normal graphics that I usually have for each one of the stories, but I want to get the map up for the weather. There it is, because it is a little bit screwy, quite frankly. Of course, Helene, surprisingly, is still hanging on, and it has slowed down to nothing. It flew once it made landfall. I mean, it was chugging along at 25, 30 miles an hour. Well, now it's hit the brakes, and it's making matters worse for what was already a bad situation. So it's going to continue dumping rain throughout, and of course on the dirty side of the storm, that means it's South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina are going to continue getting some more rain from this. Of course, now we're getting some in the Midwest. Gretchen's had some up in Ohio, but it continues to slowly spin, and it continues to spin down today across the Tennessee Valley. With the heavy rain lessening, this will be the last advisory for the system, as it should dissipate before the day's over with. Currently, it's about 140 miles southwest of Louisville, the center of it, 50 miles northwest of Nashville. Maximum sustained winds are down to 35. It's moving east at 3 miles an hour. Pressure is rising. It's up to 998. Remember, it was down to 942. The remnant low of post-tropical cyclone Helene is expected to bring an additional 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Of course, portions of the Ohio Valley and central Appalachians through Sunday. Some isolated totals will have 3 inches possible. Additional 1 to 2 inches of rainfall is also expected across the western Florida peninsula. So, guys, you're still going to get some rain from Helene this weekend. Moving on to Isaac. Isaac remains a Category 2 hurricane over the central Atlantic. It's about 695 miles west-northwest of the Azores. Maximum sustained winds are at 105. Currently, it's moving east-northeast at 20. Central pressure is 968 and falling. Isaac is expected to decrease forward speed, and a turn to the northeast is expected during the next couple of days. The maximum sustained winds at 105 with higher gusts. It should start weakening today and tonight. It's expected to become a post-tropical cyclone by Monday. All right, then we got Joyce. Joyce is moving northwestward over the central Atlantic. It's about 1,100 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands. Maximum sustained winds are at 50. It's moving northwest at 10. The central pressure is 1,004 and inching down slowly. West-northwest to westward motion with a decrease in forward speed is expected through tomorrow. Slow turn toward the northwest and north is forecast Sunday night and Monday. Maximum sustained winds are about 50 with higher gusts. A little change in strength is expected. So, and then it should start weakening tonight or tomorrow. And Joyce should degenerate into a remnant low by early Tuesday. Again, remember, folks, we've had forecasts of systems going to lows and then they crank back up to hurricane strength again. So this is all speculative, but it's just things we got to keep an eye on. All right, now the little yellow X in the elongated area of low pressure is isolated a couple hundred miles west of the Cabo Verde Islands, continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of this system. Tropical depression will likely form during the weekend or early next week while the system moves across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. Talking about a 30% chance of development. Oh, pretty sight. I'm going right by the water, by the way, folks. I get sidetracked easily. Development in the next 48 hours is about 30%. Then it jumps up to 70% over the next 7 days. Now, what's not on the map, in the Western Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, there's an area of low pressure that is expected to form. This is one of those where they're seeing all the stuff to make it conducive to do this. It's not where the system can be marked yet, but it's expected to form in the next couple of days. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for gradual development thereafter, and a tropical depression could form around the middle part of next week. And that, is in extremely warm water, and you know what that means. System is expected to move northwestward into the Gulf of Mexico during the latter portion of next week. Interest along the northwestern Caribbean Sea and along the U.S. Gulf Coast should monitor its progress. We could have another storm/hurricane next week. I got too much stuff here. Okay, she's announcing that they can now take credit cards. Let's see if we can do this. Tom says to show out the window. You can see it. There we go. What? Okay, that's back. And I'll keep hot air Tom off my back for a while. Anyway, so they're talking about a 50% chance over the next 7 days of this new storm developing in the Gulf. Again, folks, if it develops in that warm water, God only knows what will happen. You guys in Florida, throughout the southeast, all the way up at least to North Carolina, know what can happen this time of year. All right, so that wrap up go on my here. It's very. Well, let me say this about this train. This is the high-speed Acela train. Acela, whatever. It is. It goes fast. It's only 3.5 hours from Boston to New York. 3 hours and 40 minutes, something like that. But it's because of the speed and the tracks that are not used to the speed, a lot of swaying back and forth. It's very difficult, to control your mouse on your computer. I have trouble with that anyway. And then it's tough to see when everything's jiggling around. So anyway, so what I'm trying to do is, there it is. Okay, we'll get over here and let's do this. I have a few more openings on the cruise ship Dr. Cruise, sailing November 16th from Port Canaveral on the Norwegian Epic, with stops in Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, Tortola, Great Stirrup Key. It'll be a 7-nighter. Prices start at $9.85 per person. Solos from $13.85, including taxes and port charges. To join author Ivan Cox and me, just call me or text me at 434-258-9264 or email me at chilliefalls.com and join us on the cruise ship Dr. Cruise. All right. Oh, I still got the map up. I need to take the map off. That's kind of dumb. And again, folks, my apologies for not having graphics like I normally do on stories. It was just totally impossible to do with the movement of the train. So, it's a couple stories to cover today. Some of them you're going to be familiar with, several of them you're not, just because it's the first one to come up. The citizens in Juneau have voted to make it a ship-free Saturday from now on. They had an initiative. They've been talking about doing something to curb the number of people that come into Juneau, the number of ships that come into Juneau. So they finally decided it's going to be no cruise ships on Saturday. Now, I'm wondering how the cruise lines and CLIA is going to take to that one when they get a statement from them that says no cruise ships on Saturday. I'm not sure how that's going to fly legally. However, I'm not in total disagreement with the people in Juneau. I've been in Juneau with 5 ships in, and it's awful, terribly crowded. And I've stated on this show before, it's my belief that the cruise lines, and I'll be critical of all of them, are trying to beat a horse to death. They've expanded the season of because it is so. And is look at the vendors that live in Skagway. The restaurants in Skagway, anything, because the ships can't dock. Now, I think they need to get the season back to the way it used to be, and let the cruise lines develop something else besides trying to expand Alaska constantly. And this is not just my idea, folks. This is coming from, I've got quite a few close contacts in Alaska now. And I'm hearing that from a lot of the vendors. They can make a decent living. As the ship anchored near the stunning Greek island of Delos, passengers were left speechless as the bridge took the bold leap. It was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life, said the 23-year-old athlete. We had scoped out the ship several times, and each time we looked over the edge, it was impossible not to think, wow, that's really high. Okay, folks. I'm trying to schedule Hot Air Tom to do the same thing. He hasn't agreed to that yet. Who knows? Maybe it'll work out one of these days. Okay, so the other things, folks, come from stories from our friends at Cruise Hive. And Royal Caribbean has added another item following the I didn't make a big deal of this, but a couple of my fellow vloggers were out filming and left 2 kids and what they were doing. Okay. So Royal Caribbean has now banned baby monitor. On the other side of the question, there was a big stink race, and this one I still got questions about. They did a ban here 3 or 4 or 5 days ago on electrical bars, and they said no more electrical fluctuators, the multi tanks. I use a bar. Now, US. So I still got some questions about this. What can I use? Now, Hot Air Tom says that you can get a cruise line approved mobile.
I got 3 bars.
All that moving around, and I lost the signal. Hot Air Tom.
I got 3 bars.
I don't know if you guys can hear me now. Let me check the audio. I got the signal back. Yeah, I got audio back. Okay, that was Hot Air Tom's fault, folks. Completely lost the signal, but I got you back. So I hope nobody left. I was going to come over here and see who's with us today. Gretchen's here up in Ohio, Kenneth in Pennsylvania, Steve in Kentucky. That was when I was freezing at the beginning. Apparently, I got into a decent signal because I don't think it froze. Now, when I just kicked this off and came back on, that was, we're going to blame Hot Air Tom because he kept saying, yeah, I told that up a window. Yeah. Jen Lynn was here. I mentioned her. Hot Air Tom driving the train. Now, Hot Air Tom's causing trouble. Hot Air Tom causes trouble no matter where he like the guy that's killed the other night. We're coming back from, I don't know where we were. We were on one of these excursions, and it's dark, and he's screaming at some driver who was in his way. And I go, shut up, Tom. They'll come at you with guns in these places. It's Hot Air Tom. He's nuts. He really is. I can't say that. I have had so much fun. This has been so much fun, guys. All right, let's see. Hot Air Tom, looks like you guys are making some great memories. How we are. It's been a gas. Tom, what time do you guys arrive in New York? At 4:48. We're due in New York. Unless Hot Air Tom jumps off the train and hitchhikes, which he's liable to do that. There's Katie. Hi, Katie. How did you survive the storm, Katie? I hope you got no damage. When do you arrive in New York? 4:48. All right. Hot Air Tom said 4:48 as well. Gretchen says, Tom and all. Steve says, now, how about they go to some of the other Alaska ports instead of 90% of them going to Juneau's Skyway Catch Camp? Well, if they have the port development, they can. One of the problems with, there's a couple other ports that some of the cruise lines use that are just not very well developed. There's not excursions, there's not things to do, there's not restaurants. They're small little Alaska villages, which is, great, but it's not if you take 6,000 people and they're on a cruise ship. There's just nothing for them. So that's one of the things there needs to be some serious work on the way we're approaching Alaska. Because when you have a major port like Juneau, the capital of the state, is stopping cruise ships for a day just to give everybody a break, and indicates that there's just some serious problems there. So, just saying. Katie says that they lost us, but they sound back. We hear you. Okay, so I'm back now. All good where I live. The weather, that's good. All right, Katie. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I wanted to do a little bit of a makeup show, so I got that out of the way. And, that's it. I might do something live again later tonight or tomorrow. Keep track on Facebook. I do the little Facebook pop-up lives. They work well. If I don't do anything tomorrow, remember Monday is a travel day. Excuse me. So we might do another one from the train. All right. That's it for now, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. You guys have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you tomorrow or Monday or sometime. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.